Mansa Musa versus Elon Musk, The Illusion of Modern Wealth by Jihad Zenith. In October 2025, headlines around the world declared Elon Musk becomes the richest man in history. Forbes crowned him with a $500 billion title, claiming he was now worth $500 billion. But behind the glitter of that announcement lies a fragile truth. Elon Musk's wealth is not gold, not land, not cash, it is confidence. His fortune exists because millions of people believe in him. It lives in numbers, not in resources. His empire is built on faith, not on soil. Elon Musk's fortune is made up almost entirely of stock value from Tesla, SpaceX, and XI. Over 90% of it is tied to market prices that rise and fall with emotion and demand. When people buy his stock, the price goes up and his wealth increases. When they sell, it collapses. His billions are not stored in vaults or gold bars, but in the minds of investors. He is, in truth, the world's richest dependent. His fortune relies on others' participation, trust, and continuous investment in his name. Without that belief, his empire evaporates. This kind of wealth is modern and fragile. It can grow or vanish in a single trading day. It breathes through algorithms and speculation, not ownership and substance. Musk's riches exist because the market values him, not because he holds physical treasures. His money can't be touched, it can only be traded. Now travel 7 centuries back to West Africa where Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire. His story defines what true wealth meant before speculation took its place. Mansa Musa's empire sat on the foundation of gold itself. He controlled the mines of Bambouk and Bouré and the trade routes connecting Africa to the Mediterranean and Middle East. His economy was not based on belief, it was built on production. Every resource that flowed through his lands was real, measurable, and his. When Mansa Musa set out for his famous pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, he carried an army of attendants, servants, and traders. Each camel bore hundreds of pounds of gold. He gave away so much in Cairo that he changed Egypt's economy. The value of gold dropped, and it took more than a decade to recover. That was not valuation, that was domination. Mansa Musa's wealth was not dependent on markets or investors. It could build cities, educate generations, and feed nations. When he returned to Mali, he invested in knowledge and civilization, building mosques and schools in Timbuktu that became centers of learning for centuries. His fortune was not based on prediction but on possession. Elon Musk's wealth, though extraordinary, depends on a system he does not control. If the market loses faith, his numbers collapse. But Mansa Musa's fortune was rooted in sovereignty. He owned the resources, the land, the production, and the power to command them. His gold was his nation's strength. It did not require validation, it was validation. The difference between these two men is the difference between symbolic wealth and sovereign wealth. Musk represents perceived value. Musa embodied real value. Musk's fortune exists only as long as people invest. Mansa Musa's wealth existed whether people believed in it or not. Musk's wealth is virtual, Musa's was physical. Historians estimate Mansa Musa's fortune between $400 billion and over $1 trillion, but even that misses the point. His riches were not speculative, they were foundational. His wealth fueled economies and elevated his people's quality of life. His legacy was not a balance sheet, it was civilization itself. Elon Musk's empire depends on trust in the system that made him. Mansa Musa's empire was the system. If the stock market closed tomorrow, Musk's value would vanish overnight. If the trade route stopped, Mansa Musa would still have gold in his treasury and power in his hands. Mansa Musa's riches were real, measurable, and unborrowed. No one invested in his fortune. He was the investment. His empire was faith, wealth, and power in one man. He was the living definition of prosperity. Conclusion. Elon Musk may be the wealthiest man in modern accounting, but Mansa Musa remains the wealthiest man in human history. Musk's fortune rises and falls with the opinions of others, while Mansa Musa's wealth was rooted in the earth itself. Musk's billions are borrowed, Musa's were born. Real wealth is not what people say you are worth, it is what you truly own, what you can sustain, and what no one can take away. Mansa Musa's legacy proves that the truest form of wealth is dominion. It is not a number, it is power, sovereignty, and substance. So when the world calls Elon Musk the richest man to ever live, history answers with eternal truth. No, the king of Mali still reigns.